we're going to continue on going through the book of Ephesians, and we're in the last chapter. So, everyone turn to Ephesians chapter 7. And we need to let me know. And we're going to look at verse 15 there. Ephesians 7. Anyone there? Okay. We are awake. I was worried. I was like, man, that one's silent. I was looking for chapter 7. I know. Stops at 6. No. I got kind of worried there. Got some stuff. Okay. All right. Very good. We are at 6. Anyway, like someone says, do you know what I'm thinking about? No. Okay, chapter 6 and verse 13. So we're dealing with the whole armor of God. Again, the whole armor of God is the belt, or the the belt of righteousness here, and all these good things. And the breath it comes in on your feet with the preparation of the. Now, verse 15, the word preparation, word for preparedness. I do also think that the idea with the idea sacrificially prepared. Same word used in John 14, verse 2. A different tense, but same word. Jesus is dealing with expectation. In Matthew 3, verse 3, John the Baptist, he was said that he went out and he was going to prepare the way, right? Prepare the way for Jesus inside of the wilderness there. And so that's the whole idea of making things ready, having this expectation attached to it, preparing for something. Now, when he's saying that I want your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace, what's the expectation he's attaching to that? You got to be ready to go, right? So, whenever there's the idea of readiness, that shows you the idea of course, shows you the idea of maybe, as we have, I'm sure, heard, prepare for the war. Good thing. So it comes down to this idea of preparing ourselves for the gospel and to proclaim it. There has to be prior preparation. Now, by that I mean this: when you think about this prior preparation, the gospel was taught to us. Matthew 28, verse 19. And so when it was taught to us, I think we have to know what it is before we go teach somebody else. Matthew 28, verse number 20. So the gospel is all about man. Because the animals were not ever given. And it's been said, the angel morally perfect, and so that's when they sinned. That's why they couldn't get their shape. And yet man was never made. Man lost. Yes, so he has to constantly be taught the way, and that was always a struggle. He left the garden. That we always have to be taught about how to get back to God from that point on. And went through all the systems. Went through the patriarchal, the Mosaic age, and the Christian. Always a preparedness that has to happen. And I think from the Jewish side, a full-blown Jew, they had to normally go on those kind of things. Deuteronomy 6 goes into how they had to learn the law from when they woke up when they go to bed. And that's all before they go and become full-blown members of Jewish community. The Christian has to go into that same idea that everyone has to go out there and just start saying whatever you want to say. You got to see it. And am I not loud enough? Oh, okay. Oh, close. The problem. Going off on. You have to have a mentality of student. And it's in Hebrews 5, verses 12 through 14. The members there, I think it's Christianity there in the book of Hebrews, should be able to read your things, which will bring up in Hebrews 6, 1 and 2. But have need teach you again first principles of God. What? And for maturity, there's time. Second Peter 2, verse 2 says that you may grow a milk of the word. But you have to grow in the word. Obviously. So there has to be every one of us go on a job and work and military. There has to be preparation given before you do anything. Professional, you can't go there and as a mechanic cannot have it or do HVAC, can have anything ready to go for the HVAC. I mean, you have to have things ready to make your life. Comes to this, he's saying, I saw to your feet the preparation of the gospel, an understanding about what the gospel is. Identify with it. DBR, yes, okay. Death, burial, and resurrection. Okay, and what verse do we normally go to? You are correct. What verse do we normally go to for that? Might be the answer. But hey, that's where we go. So 1 Corinthians 15, 1 through 4 is where it says that you stand in the gospel. Right? You got to stand in that. Now, second. Something. That announce with this actually, and there's a whole thing. Surrender the plane. Yeah. stuff though that you know by his mentality to the armor of God. Our soul. You look at Luke 8 out there, was a good thing. So down in thorns and ways. You know, and that's a reception, right? So to change it, that's how a heart responds to it. Yes. Yes. Mm. Mm. Yeah. It is. That's the Bible verse, isn't it? First Peter 2. And the word that's there. Yes. Yeah, good. Okay. For comment 15, verse 16. Okay. Okay. Yeah. 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 Good. Always ready. Verse 2. Above all, take hold of faith, with which you will be able to quench all the fiery darts. Get one. Okay. Uh, to quench, satisfy. Okay. Quench your thirst. Okay. Stop. I would say stop. I would say squash. Word. That's one of those fun English things, parts of English. But I would say because you don't want to. That's fine. Okay. When you look at the shield of faith, how does that keep us away from these darts? Why would he call them fiery? Fiery. Ah, eternal punishment. Okay. It burns. That's what I'm thinking about. Why would he use word? Why would he use that word, that adjective there to describe the dart, unless it had something to do with the effects of it? not just the pain of the dart hitting you, it's the burn too. What you got? Yes. Yeah. 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 Right. And they even put tar on stuff and then they'll lie it up and send it on. Yeah. Yeah. Flammable. Yeah. So what do you think here with these five? What do you think that's talking about? Three. Could be sin. Person sin takes over, consumes your life for a little bit. Could be temptation. What you got? Yeah. Okay, the general challenges and troubles of this life. Yeah. Does that mean that the devil? It does. It does. Right in James 1, verses 2 and 3. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you fall in the diverse temptations or diverse trials. Some versions they put. Why would he say, be fall into a trial? Yes. Ah, the outcome. Yeah. Now, and you read other verses like Hebrews 12, dealing with this idea. It's a trend. I think that sometimes we, I think sometimes we put too much on God that He never did. Okay. Now, with that, I mean this. There are, and we'll say that God allows something to happen, and I don't think He did. I think it's just our nature sometimes. It's how He does it. For an example, uh, when my wife had a miscarriage, we had members of the church in the fifth inside the church come up and they say, "Well, God knew that child wasn't healthy. That's why that child died." You saying God killed my child? Is that how God works? I mean, God didn't die because He wasn't healthy enough. What about those children who had problems? They got born. My child wasn't fit enough to even born. No, saying that kind of stuff. You know, like we'll put God out there, and He didn't have nothing to do with it at all. It wasn't God's fault. It's just how the body is. It wasn't anybody's fault. Just of humanity. We're not perfect, and it's okay. It wasn't God's fault. What you got? Yeah. Right. Right. And see, a lot of that's yeah. You understand how to use it and stuff, and wisdom, and yeah. What you got? Yeah. Yes. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. Uh, you know, uh, he's suffering all. Well, as well as his friends. Whatever. If you weren't such a sinful person, this thing would be fine with you. You know. Yeah, but you're such a sin. Uh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 Sure. Yeah. 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 They're all saying stuff like it was better. I remember when past masters and being okay. He didn't wait. Good point. I need a little ways. Uh, it says I think verse 6 and 7. some others, though, who are obedient sensitive. All right. Um, so this fiery darts in Ephesians 6, verse 16, I think it's dealing with sin and temptation. Yeah, lust. How it brings out death. You know, sin, when it is conceived, brings forth death. Um, uh, of it consumed. Yeah. Uh, changed. Mentality. That's you can reject it. Can't even. But that's what I'm trying to get. That's yeah, that you can't go from sinner to saint. Remember for that is 7 through really. Okay. Uh, one of the temptations. And Jesus says that he one. And then Luke 22, Peter was in Christ, and Peter, Jesus, you don't have to go to Jerusalem. You don't got to go. Well, ask me to sift you like wheat. There, redemption, and that will be his mo around there. Say that. Uh, of this processes. You lose in your mind forever. Titus 1:15. Now it has to be to see things in all this time. So stuff, and some he's it's prepared. Yeah. Yes, I think you're right. I think he's trying to. Yeah, the method of First Peter 5. trying to find it. Uh, come on, things there, I think, is the absolute that you need to have, that the arm extra, well, really supposed to be the first layer of protection. And if I don't have behind my shield, if I do what David did to Uriah, steps back like good soldiers do, and man, that guy's dead like nothing else, man. You know, what would happen if they all had their shields up at that point in time? At this point in time, we're going to let him take all by himself. I but go out there and the whole thing. But the whole idea of it is that you have the whole need protect. This is, and so the idea of faith, is extremely important. Because if you don't got any faith, look at even it has to begin. The very first thing to happen is you have to have faith, right? Faith. You have, and Hebrews 11 verse number 6. But without faith, it's impossible to please Him. So faith is always attached to it's attached to it's hope. It's attached to things, and so that is shit. You don't got to go into it unless you want to. Sometimes, by faith you can actually go around stuff. It gives you worry, gives you thoughts to how to use certain tools to move around and not be this kind of. You begin to kind of have around. Of salvation and word of it's the helmet nation with it. Protect your mind. Too. mind will go and is not protected. He goes out. For those uh, the helmet, that's where the fatal hit can come in. That's one of the things I think you're talked about quite a bit in the military. Carry helmet and your gun. You're going to question your saying. What are you doing that? Why? Well, that's where the shot comes in. Yeah. You got to watch out for that stuff. And so he's saying you got to watch out for all this stuff that can be fatal. Image your Christianity. Now, I think it's okay to ask questions, to have debates about certain things. I think some things are silly, but some things are fun. I think it's okay to, to constantly be challenging yourself. Okay, but you have to have a guardrail up to say when's this gone too far? All this kind of it now begin to actually make me look at people differently. When do I have to? How far to look less of myself? Well, now I have a good output. Okay, and don't have it around how I do things. Because of my faith, I began to devalue myself, devalue Jerusalem. Amen. So, long enough, I'm going to allow it in. It's going to create more and more problems. And so we have to have a helmet. But I only put my helmet on when I go to church. Well, then, so 6 more days, you're opening up to anything that can go on inside the world and can go into your mind. And regardless of any kind. No, you got a problem. Right? We have to be very, very mindful. And we understand that from the scripture, you have to constantly feeding your mind. Constantly be. It's kind of for that as two wolves. You have the wolf fear and the only one that will survive. Come out. And, God's not giving us the spirit of fear. The sound. Yeah. So, very, very important that ready are next one. Is anyone? What you got? Okay, Stanley, and I'll give you good point. I mean, there are shields today, but it's just not as individual. Obviously, like military, police, they have the body armor. But like people like SWAT, bomb guys, they got the shield up, and they won't. They got everything. They got 3 layers going. They got the thing underneath the body armor. They got the helmet. They got all kind of padding everywhere, plus a shield. They're ready to go into the bomb. But I think that we've gone away from the shield for individual and gotten to the body armor, to the bulletproof vest, and the cars. Have all the shields around the wheels or can't pop them anymore and that kind of stuff. You have the glass and brake. Like, we still try to protect ourselves. It's not as individual. It is interesting. Think of the blanks, those called shield wall. Anyway, get coming. Okay, we will stop. Next week, we will pick up the sword of the Spirit. Thank you for being in class today. Appreciate y'all very much.